A recent drug bust nets 5 arrests. Bird populations are growing on Sandy Neck, and the planning board approves splitting a parcel of land on Sandy Neck. These stories and more on this episode of Barnstable Today. It's Tuesday, August 11th, 2015. I'm Sarah Mannel. Barnstable police arrest 5 individuals following a lengthy investigation. Police Chief Paul McDonald says he expects the investigation will result in even more arrests.
An ongoing investigation, and actually this is a long-term investigation. We expect several more arrests to come out of this investigation. We plan on executing numerous search warrants right across southeast of Mass, with many municipalities getting involved in this. But this was the first one. We arrested 5 individuals at 23 Marks Path for distribution and possession of heroin and possession of a firearm. Those individuals were identified as Norman Witchell. He gives the highest address, but we know he's from Boston. Petri Chantel, Gaspar, Christopher Gaspar, Brendan Ellis, and Jason Tierney. All 5 of them were arrested for possession of heroin intent to distribute. The first individual was also charged with possession of a firearm and being armed criminal acts. So he's facing at least 15 years. But again, this is a long-term investigation, and we expect several more arrests and multiple search warrants coming out of this investigation.
All 5 defendants will be back in court at the end of the month for a pretrial hearing. It's been a busy and successful summer season on Sandy Neck. Natural Resource Officer Chris Nappy updated the Sandy Neck Board at its meeting this week.
It's still very busy out on the beach. I'd say last weekend, not just this past one, but the weekend before when the weather was nice, I was just as busy as the 4th of July out there. It was a very full beach. The most vehicles that we've topped out at, we've had over 500 day tripper and chase vehicles and 150 campers in a weekend out there. That's on Saturday afternoon. So
that's just up until Trail 2, correct?
Exactly, yeah. So that's in 1.8 miles. Yep. So it's just a little bit past Trail 2. And there still has been space to fit more.
And despite being a very busy summer, Nappy says bird populations are doing very well this year.
I was just at the Coastal Waterbird meeting too for the region for the Northeast this past week. Sandy Neck has the most plover pairs than any other managed area in New England. Right now we've had 48 fledged plovers with the potential for another 11.
Holy mackerel.
Good.
Yeah. So they're doing well out there. The terns are doing well too. We've had not as many pairs of terns as in the past couple of years, but there are a lot of fledglings out there. So yep. So we're waiting on both plovers and terns to fledge to open up more. But as we see, we're out there every day. We're monitoring. As we see birds fledge, we take more space, or we move that closure line to the east. So
Nappy expects more of the beach to be open once the birds fledge in the next week or 2. A 28-acre parcel of land on Sandy Neck will now be divided into 6 parcels. Land surveyor Dan Ojala presented the plan to the planning board this week.
This is kind of a unique piece of land. Here's the just hold up the tip of Sandy Neck. So all the way at the very end of the 7 miles, there's a little cottage colony there. And there's a 37-rod wide parcel tract of land north of a little 15-foot right-of-way there. And so all the different owners are petitioning the court and have decided that they'd like to divide up their interests in the manner that's shown before you here. The special note is that parcel 6, is my understanding, the town of Barnstable has under agreement to purchase. That's a 14-acre lot. Again, we'll call them all parcels just to be absolutely clear, because this is 100% dune, there's no upland here. Your definition of upland very carefully excludes dune and shifting sands. So what we're talking about is just a division of a large tract of property into various little pieces we'll call parcels. So they're called parcel 1 through parcel 6, little remainder piece on the bottom. And this deserves endorsement because it is not a subdivision. A subdivision is defined as something which creates which creates off of a way a plot of land suitable for building of a dwelling or other structure. And because these have no upland whatsoever, they have no road frontage, they have, you can't put a septic system in them because of the prohibition against septic systems in a coastal dune. They're basically just parcels. So it's not a subdivision. Staff summed it up very nicely with one line saying it does not represent a subdivision. But this is the manner in which all the parties have agreed to divide up the large tract into a number of smaller pieces.
Planning Board member David Munsell expressed concerns about changes being made to the property if the split were approved.
Really thinking about, as years ago, we used to walk this property very easily. Today you can't. But say Mr. Hill, which will own from the water on one side to the water on the next, if he said, I don't want anyone using this, that is possible. Is there any way that we can get some type of wording on there that could be, you could have access through this property to the outermost part of Sandy Neck? That completely cuts off the whole outer end of Sandy Neck from the lighthouse out.
Yeah, it's obviously everyone's got rights below mean high water to fish, fowl, and navigate. On the north side of the bay there, you can't extinguish those rights. But it's that's the way it's always been. It's property and private ownership, and there's an easement across it. And then by prescription, I'm quite sure it would be fairly easy. In fact, the land court plans on either side, clearly call out the 15-foot right-of-way. So. I just don't think that there'd be any way to extinguish that without a huge legal battle, and that's true of any road. You could have a public way across your lot. You could try and stop, and it'd be a civil matter where you'd be.
But that limits people to this 15-foot right-of-way, and not being able to cross any of that open space up through there. It's kind of a red flag to me.
Well, the town would end up with this. They'll probably insist on getting rights, I think, along this footpath here.
You mentioned the town would end up with that?
Yeah, they've got a signed purchase and sale for the big bulk of it here, the 14 acres as far as that's what I've hear to be correct. Again, what you guys are saying is that, no determination as to zoning is made or intended. The parties that simply own it now could put up a fence or try to put up a fence. I feel they'd be defeated in that. And simply dividing into parcels just means that, other people could try to put up a fence, but again, they're not going to be successful. It's been, all the old aerials and maps show these roads having been here since, anybody was able to drive out there, probably since the automobile. So certainly they show, and on the oldest land court plans in the 30s and so forth, reference rights of way. So I don't think it's anything that really makes, there would be, someone could try, they would probably be stopped from trying to block it.
Ultimately, the board voted to approve the parcel division. The town has agreed to purchase parcel 6, which encompasses 14 acres. We'll be sure to tune in to our hour-long news program, Barnstable This Morning, weekdays at 7 a.m. On tomorrow's show, we will chat with Register of Deeds Jack Mead. We'll hear from Finance Director Mark Milne. Plus, we'll have all the news and information you need. For Barnstable Today, I'm Sarah Mannel.